rest of the staff. Let's welcome in Logan Webb. Let's bring a friend of mine in, Pat Burrell. Pat, how are you today?
Bill, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be on with you.
Giants fans, this is Extra Innings with Bill Lasky.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Again, he throws. Swing, and there's a high fly ball. Foul ground. Going down the line is Matt Chapman, and he gets there. He makes the catch just as he gets to the tarp. And he holds on to it. The ball game is over. What a play by Matt Chapman, hurrying down the line. He was battling the fierce glare of the sun this time of day, which is really bad, and a strong gusting wind. And Matt Chapman, a multiple Gold Glove winner, Platinum Glove winner multiple times, and he looked every bit of that going down the line to make the grab in spite of all the obstacles of the sidewall and the tarp cylinder, and he...
Welcome in to an extra inning post-game show on a Saturday here in San Francisco. The Giants hold on to a 4-3 win with one game left. They become an 81-81 team with a win tomorrow with Logan Webb on the hill. But with that win today, they got their 80th win on the season with 81 losses. They won a series. They're 10-2 against the Rockies with, like I said, one more game left in the 2025 Major League Baseball season for the San Francisco Giants. And all eyes were on Justin Verlander, the 42-year-old, going out for his 29th start this year. Gave up a solo home run in the first to Goodman, gave a solo home run up in the second to Doyle, and then he pitched very well after that, going 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, 2 on a sweeper, 3 on a fastball, 1 by a slider, and 1 on a curveball for the 7 punch-outs. Threw 92 pitches today, 61 for strikes. And this is what I always talk about, and you've heard me say this all year, the first pitch strikes. He did it well, 17 first pitch strikes for 24 hitters. And that shows a lot for him. And when you look at what he's done today, without the 2 solo home runs, 6 ground ball outs, 5 fly ball outs, and he went solid 6 innings. And when you look at the pitch count, 14 in the first, 14 in the second, 19 in the third, 14, 17, and 14. Really a consistent game for Justin Verlander. And when you look at his last 7 games, his last 7 starts, he's got a 1.96 earned run average. Just a really, really good second half for Justin Verlander. And he said he wants to pitch again next year. Where? He's undecided. And with that win, it's 266 in his career. He's caught Bob Feller. Of course, Bob Feller threw for the Cleveland Indians, a Hall of Famer. No doubt Justin Verlander is going to be in that Hall of Fame also. Overall numbers for Justin Verlander. Wins his 4th game. He's 4-11. But these numbers really have come down through these last 7 starts. He finishes the season with a 3.85 earned run average, 152 innings, 155 hits, and you look at it, 137 strikeouts. Very impressive for a 42-year-old Justin Verlander. Of course, he's been hurt the last couple of years, but he sure rebounded. When you look at 29 starts, tomorrow Logan Webb's going after his 34th. He didn't miss many starts. And you look at how many one-run games, my goodness, this man was in a lot of them. 12 quality starts out of those 29 starts. Of course, a quality start is 6 innings or more with 3 runs or less, and he did it again today by only giving up 2 earned runs in 6 innings. Joel Peguera comes in, gives him a 1 solid inning. Tristan Beck also 1 solid inning. Ryan Walker, after yesterday, just threw the ball extremely well yesterday, going 1 inning with 2 punch-outs. Just couldn't get it going today. He only lasted a third of an inning, gave up a home run and a double. And then Spencer Bivens, he did everything this year. Long man, middle man, setup man, and he got his 2nd save, going 2/3 of an inning with a punch-out as he gets the final out with Matt Chapman catching the ball down the third base line. Just a real good game today. The Giants really didn't hit Kyle Freeland much at all. In the 2nd inning, Chapman got a walk, Flores got a base hit, and Casey Schmidt hit a ball, boom, way out in center field, 422 feet. Hit a 1-0 fastball for his 12th home run. And they really didn't do much after that. They only ended up getting 4 hits. And that 4th hit came in the 8th inning when Rafael Devers came up and hit a fly ball to center field, and center fielder tried to come in and get it, and Doyle just missed it, and it got by him. And Kisner scored all the way from first base, and that was really the winning run as the Colorado Rockies came back with bases loaded and 2 outs, and Spencer Bivens finally got the last out, and the Giants win this one 4-3. 58 one-run games they've been in, and 28-30 is the number for the one-run games. And you start looking at other numbers, 41-39 at Oracle Park with 1 left, 39-42 on the road, 17-28 against lefties, 63-53 against righties. So one more game. Logan Webb will be on the hill tomorrow, 14-11, a 3.3 earned run average against McCade Brown. And McCade Brown started 6 games with the Colorado Rockies, and the Rockies have lost all of them, all 6 starts he's had. He's 0-4 with a 7.5 earned run average, only 22 2/3 innings pitched. He's been in Double-A and Triple-A most of the year, and we'll see if the Giants can mount an attack tomorrow and win that final game to get their record to be 81-81. Something, you say to yourself, oh, it's only 500, Bill. Well, you battle all year, 162 games, and you want to be 81-81. It sounds a lot better than being 80-82. So they're going to fight tomorrow. They're going to try to win this game and come out with a 500 record, something that they didn't think they could get to. But, again, they thought they were going to get into the playoffs and wild card. They just could not get that done in the month of September. All right, 415-808 KNBR. Get on the phone lines. Let's talk some Giants baseball. Got a couple great interviews down the road in this show. Will Clark sat down with him this week. We talked a lot about this season, some of the things he liked, some of the things he didn't, some of the things he thinks that they should be adjusted to for next year for the 2026 season. And also I bring up some things that he and I were teammates in 1986. The first home run he hit off Nolan Ryan, a couple of funny stories there. And then I caught up with Marvin Bernard. Of course, Marvin Bernard got the Willie Mack Award win, Willie Mack Award when he was playing. And then he also was on the Hall of Fame, the Wall of Fame, on the Embarcadero. Both of Will Clark also. Of course, Will Clark's number 22 was retired in 2022. I'm Bill Lasky. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show. More coming up with your phone calls as we continue on the Extra Inning Postgame Show on here, KNBR, the sports leader.
From the mound to the mic, this is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Lasky.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him by saying to your smart speaker, play KNBR.
One of the things they loved about him was he's not intimidated about pitching at Coors Field. He grew up in Denver. There's a swing and a drive in the deep center field. Way back there, Doyle at the warning track, at the wall. Goodbye. A 3-run homer over the center field wall by Casey Schmidt. And the Giants immediately turned this one around, taking a 3-2 lead.
There was a little weirdness at second base. Matt Chapman went back to tag up, thinking that ball could be caught by Doyle. Wilmer Flores knew it was a home run, said they were both around second base at the same time. Turned out okay. Casey Schmidt hit that 422 feet. It left his bat at 105 miles an hour.
Back on the Extra Inning post-game show, on our last Saturday show for the 2025 baseball season. That 3-run home run by Casey Schmidt took the lead for the San Francisco Giants in the second. They didn't score any more runs until that 8th inning when Kisner got a walk, and Rafael Devers hit a ball out to center field, and Doyle went to dive for it. He missed it and got by him, and Kisner ended up scoring all the way from first base, and that was really the winning run as the Colorado Rockies scored 1 in the 9th. They had bases loaded with 2 outs and a pop-up that Matt Chapman caught in foul territory all the way by the net. And Giants fans go home was a winner, 4-3. And today was Bark at the Park. All the dogs are out there. Love that. Love seeing all the Giants apparel on them. And it's just a fun day in the bleachers with all the dogs out there. But congratulations to all the Giants fans for bringing their little doggies out there. I love my 2 little puppies I got. So my winner's going to be Puppy Heaven. So I got 2 Bernese Mountain Dogs. One name is Clover, and the other one is named Blue. That's right. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Let's go to John in South City. John, you're on Extra Innings on a Saturday. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Bill. It's a good win today by the team.
Boy, you get bases loaded and you get 2 outs, and you're just wondering if it's going to go the Giants' way or the Rockies' way. And today, the pop-up by Tovar, man, he was a tough out right there. Fouled off a lot of pitches, and Chapman held on to it. And it was a good win for them. Now they just have to close it out tomorrow to get that 81-81 record. And it's not an impressive record, but it's something that you want to go home with and not a losing record.
Yeah, I like to see him go 3 for 3 tomorrow against Colorado, and then end off like a good note tomorrow as well.
What'd you think of Justin Verlander today? His last start, his 29th start. I thought he threw the ball well, a couple solo home runs, but he hung in there for 6 innings, threw 92 pitches. He was very impressive his last 7 starts, John, with a 1.96 earned run average over those 7 starts. That's pretty damn good for a 42-year-old.
Yeah, I thought he pitched really well today, Bill. I'm not sure if it's maybe Verlander's last year pitching for the major leagues or for the Giants. I'd love to see him back, but we do, it's the business way. You don't know who stays, who comes back. That's the other thing is, Bill.
Yeah, and from the inside, talking to him, some insiders and some writers. He really wants to try to get closer to Florida where he lives. He'd love to go back to Houston. Of course, when you're looking at Florida and Houston, no state tax. When you're making $15 million in California, that takes a big lump out of that salary. But I think that's what he really wants to do is go to somewhere closer to home. Of course, his family did not come out here all year. Most likely they saw each other on the road or different things like that. But you know what? He was impressive the second half, John. And you just questioned if he was going to, finish out the year. Was there any injuries? He stuck with it. He could have just passed this last start. He went out there, proceeded to get his 4th win, and boy, the numbers for the second half really showed that he can still pitch.
Absolutely right, Bill. Bill, I appreciate talking to you all season long, and I hope I hear you during the off season as well too. So I just want to say,
John, it was always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. And good stuff as always. We always talk good baseball. And you know what? I just want to thank you for being a Giants fan. Giants fans calling a lot, and you're one of the good ones. And you have a good off season too, John.
I will, Bill. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Let's go out to Hawaii and talk to my buddy Bert. Aloha, my friend. How's everything going out in Hawaii today?
Oh, everything's good out here, Bill. Nice weather and all that. But you guys have the same nice weather out in San Francisco as well, though.
Right now we're getting a little cool area, but it's windy, but a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day here. And we're getting some rain coming in next week. But overall, the Giants had a good game today, held on, Bert. And like I just got done talking to John, Justin Verlander went out there again and threw a hell of a game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was a good game. And, as I mentioned yesterday, last night, I mean, Justin Verlander's been tough lately, but, as a whole, he's not he hasn't had that
second half, Bert. I think
anyway,
you got to look at his last 7 starts. I mean, you and I mentioned that yesterday. 7 starts with a 1.96. That's showing a hell of a sign for having a pretty good season the second half of the year, especially when you're looking in August and September, the money drive, and he put the numbers up, but the Giants just couldn't get enough runs for him, and he finishes it out 4-11.
Yeah, I agree, Bill. One thing that I wanted to ask about was, you kind of mentioned about, Monday and, maybe an announcement about whether Bob Melvin's staying or not, but would it be possible?
Well, they're having a
that
press conference.
Back?
Well, Bert, they're having a press conference on Monday, right? Buster Posey's going to talk to the press and the ups and downs of the season and find out if they are going to continue to go on with Bob Melvin as a manager. Of course, they signed him to an extension. Those things can change. Also, the coaching staff, what are they going to do there? And I think a lot of it is just an update on the Giants season, his first full year as president of baseball operations, and right then and there, we're going to find out if they're going to be behind Bob Melvin for another year, or are they going to make a search and try to find a new manager, start all over with a new coaching staff, and see what they can do. You and I talked about the foundation of the players, or the big money men are still going to be here when you look at Devers, Adames, Chapman, Jung-Hoo Lee, Webb, Ray. Those are really the money guys, and I would have to say pretty much all of them or all of them will come back. It's just, what are the additions? What are the same players like a Casey Schmidt or an Elliot Ramos? What are they going to do in right field? There's possibilities of adding, but you know what? Are they going to stay within, or are they going to go elsewhere?
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the update on that, on what's happening on Monday and stuff. But wow, I'm saying, wouldn't it be something if Bochy came back and managed his team a couple of years? But
anyway.
Bochy
and Buster Posey, they're very good friends. But I think Bochy's done. I think if he really wanted to stay on with Texas, they would have let him do it. But I think this year, the ups and downs, the Rangers had a lot of injuries on that team. I think it's time that he just hangs it up and waits to get inducted into Hall of Fame, because that's his next place of business. I just don't think he'll manage again.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you very much, Bill, again for a good season, and I'll be catching you next year then.
Bert, thank you so much, my friend. It's always great talking to you. Be safe in Hawaii, and your family have a great off season.
Okay, thank you, Bill. You take care now.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning Postgame Show, 415-808-KNBR. If you want to get on the phones, dial in. We'll talk some more Giants baseball as we continue on a Saturday, our final Saturday Extra Inning Postgame Show. Got a couple calls on hold. Join in. We'll talk a little bit more Giants baseball, and we'll be able to talk to Will Clark and Marvin Bernard coming up as the show continues right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Lasky.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
Two down, runner at first. There's a swing, and a ball is into shallow center. Diving! Doyle misses it. It goes by him. Coming around third, Kisner scores all the way from first. Thanks to the heroic efforts and ill-timed heroic efforts of Brenton Doyle. He went for the whole thing, took a huge risk, and it burned him. 4-2 Giants.
Back on the extra inning post-game show with Bill Lasky. The winning run as the Rockies come back and get one in the top of the ninth inning on Jordan Beck's 16th home run, and he had bases loaded with 2 outs. Spencer Bivens got a pop-up from Tovar. Chapman catches it, and the Giants win their 80th game. And they're 80-81 with one more game left, 161 games in the book. And tomorrow I'll be doing a warm-up show. The first game, I should say, the game is going to be at 12:05. It's going to be pushed up an hour. All the games will be played at 12:05 tomorrow. So I'll be doing the warm-up show at 10 a.m. 2 great guests. I got to talk to Dave Dravecki this week and Mark Carrion. Mark Carrion played in the mid-'90s. Both of them received the Willie Mack Award, and I'm trying to center a lot of the attention on the Willie Mack Award was given out to Willie Adames last night, and it's just a great award for a great man, the Hall of Famer number 44. And then I'll be doing my last post-game show for the 2025 season tomorrow. Extra innings will be after the game. Robbie Thompson I got a chance to talk to. He's down in Florida. He couldn't make it out here. He was also a Willie Mack Award winner. And then Greg Elliott, I close it out for the 2025 season. Greg Elliott is a head groundskeeper at Oracle Park. My family and his family got to know each other back in Toledo, Ohio, where we both grew up. Got to know Greg when he came out here, 18 seasons at Oracle Park, 3 World Series he went through, and that park has been pristine. He's just done a great job making that ballpark so unique, so beautiful, and I say it's the best in Major League Baseball. 415-808 KNBR. If you want to get on the phone lines, let's go out to Berkeley and talk to Andrea. Andrea, how are you on a Saturday?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Doing good. One more game left, Andrea, and seeing if the Giants can close out 81-81. I really believe that would be a good start, momentum for next season, and at least have a 500 record.
Yes, I thought, that was a good goal to shift to after they, couldn't make the playoffs, aim for 500. And we're just energizing that. And first off, thanks for a wonderful season of shows and that unique blend of Sagittarius optimism and honesty. And I'm glad you got one more show coming up.
Yeah, you listen to me all the time, and I appreciate all your kind words all year and calling in and talking Giants baseball. And, of course, you cheer for the New York Mets. They need to get a couple wins here to get into the playoffs. But, it's so funny, Andrea, 162 games, and we're looking at the final 2 games to see if teams get into the wild card or even win the division when you're looking at Cleveland and Detroit. But that's baseball. That's what Major League Baseball is all about. The stress, the anxiety going into these games, how many guys sleep at night, how many are thinking about the final game. There's a lot of money on the line also. A lot of these guys have incentives, and a lot of money is passed out throughout the whole team once you do get into the playoffs. And, of course, the big money is when you win the World Series.
Yes, and that said, it was really good to see Verlander finish on a high note. I appreciate the stats that you shared. Last 7 games, 1.96 ERA, 61 innings pitched. So we finished the season, I think 4-12. So that was really good to 4-11 rather.
With a 3.85, and I think that is a solid earned run average. 42 years old. You and I keep talking about age when we talk about a lot of these young players. It just doesn't happen like that at 42 years. It's unique. It's one of a kind. Getting up every 4th day, going through all the stiffness and soreness, and he's pushed through it. And for 29 starts, very impressive.
he's the poster child for the Saturn transits, delay not denial, because he's February 20th. February 20th, 1983, and he's a Pisces, and Saturn was in Pisces, which rules the skeletal system, Bill, bones, knees, teeth, joints. So that was, kind of a little challenge right there. But again, delay, not denial. He persevered, and he did really well. The second half, huge change in his stats, the second half versus the first half. So that was very heartening.
You can't look at his win-loss record. Andrea, so many games he came out with the lead, and it just didn't happen where the bullpen either gave up the lead or tied the game up, and it was frustrating for him. Don't forget, he was 1-11 at one time, 1-11. So he came back with 3 wins in his last 7 starts. Could have easily got 4 or 5.
Yes, no, that's a good point. The second half really was truer to who he is. So that was really heartening to see. And, hearing him talk, I think he called his season topsy-turvy on the post-game show. So that's, how it goes with the ups and downs of some of the transits he was having. And he said, he still has the fire in him to pitch. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up and for how many years. He even mentioned 2 years as a possibility. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up.
It'll be interesting to see what teams come after him, Andrea.
Right.
Who's going to knock on his door now that he's shown them that he is physically capable of pitching. 29 starts is very impressive. I mean, tomorrow Logan Webb's going after number 34, which is really impressive. But that's longevity. You and I both talked about this. You talked about him being a pitching coach for this team. And I really believe a lot of pitchers gravitated to him just to listen to him, listen to how he prepares for the game, listen to how he gets ready for the next team that he's facing. Logan Webb talked a lot about it with him, and you open your ears and you open your eyes to guys that play 20 years in Major League Baseball, and why wouldn't you? I mean, he's been so successful. He'll be in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown one day, and we'll find out what happens next year, Andrea. But I just want to thank you for all the phone calls, all the great support you've given me over this past year, and you be safe over the winter, Andrea.
Yes, I'll plan to call in tomorrow as well, and thanks again, win, lose, or draw. You always have that optimism, and we appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate your time as always, Andrea. Let's go to Mike. He's in Petaluma. Mike, you're on an extra-inning post-game show. Giants win today 4-3, 1 game under 500. What'd you think of the game today?
That was fun to watch. Thanks for having me on, Bill. We actually met at 2008 fantasy camp, and
oh, great!
You watched me catch a ball, and one said "catch of the day." Thanks to Tiny Felder showing me.
So you must have made a hell of a catch, Mike.
It was one of those, Tiny Felder worked with me on shielding my eyes with my glove in sun, and that Arizona sun is not easy, as you know. And anyway, Tiny was one of my managers.
Fun times. Good. Well, what'd you think of Justin Verlander today? The 42-year-old really put a good punch in those last 7 starts. Really dialed up, dialed in. Really fastball, slider, curveball, sweeper, changeup. He had a little bit of everything working today.
He had it all working, and I ran some numbers because I've heard some numbers, but these kind of tell you how good he was this year. 29 starts, 18 of those with 2 or fewer runs allowed. 11 of those with 0 or 1 run allowed. So think about that. I mean, the guy should have had 12 to 15 wins. I mean, 18, that's more than a quality start. Maybe he didn't go 6 innings every time, but 18 of 29 starts, 2 or fewer runs allowed. That's a good, strong season.
When you look at quality starts, and I mean, he had 12 of them, I know that. Quality starts, six innings or more, 3 earns or less, but you're talking even farther than that, going, 2 runs or less. And, you look at his last 7 starts, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those with 2 runs or less, and 3 of those were no runs. It's consistency I looked at, what he was throwing out there, the 5 different pitches that he threw. He threw them today. I mean, when you break it down, 35 fastballs, 22 sliders, 17 curveballs, 17 sweepers, and 1 changeup. And when you can throw 4 pitches at any time you want, and he shakes them off. He shook off Kinzer a couple times. He shook off Bailey a couple times. but I think he looks down the road 2 or 3 pitches ahead. I always talk about the chess match as a pitcher to a hitter. If I get you out the first time, I got to remember how I got you out, the sequence of pitches, the second time, the third time. He's a master at that.
Yeah, so who knows if he'll come back. But, I'm also hoping they bring Dom Smith back because he's a good Giant, plays the game right,
He is.
Great fielder. We don't really have another good, maybe Eldridge will come along in a bit. But as of right now, for starting the 26th season, are you optimistic that they can bring him back? I mean, he didn't earn much.
Well, I talked to Dom Smith on Wednesday when I was up there, and he wants to come back. There's no question he wants to. The hamstring issue just kind of crushed his season. He was having a good season for him. As you say, his defensive side, very good at defense as a left-handed first baseman. That's one thing he's got going for him. When you look at Eldridge and you look at Devers, they're right-handed. So as a left-hander, you can get that ball in the hole a little more. I always talked about to him the throws of the pitcher covering first base are just perfect. Every throw, every one that he handles, he shows the ball to the pitcher, and he usually throws it right to their chest. That's something that they work on. That's something that's not as easy as you think it is. And if you remember a couple of them, he was laid out one time, and he threw it from his knees, and it was a perfect throw. I think it was a Tristan Beck covering first base. It's a good job to have a good fielder at first where you can put him out in defensive modes, just like what they're doing with Grant McCray in the outfield as a defensive replacement. I just don't know what their vision is at first base. That's going to be the question.
We'll see. But, I mean, Dom, unlike, some of those outfielders who are great fielders but didn't really hit, Dom Smith hit 284. That was the highest average on the Giants of anybody with 200 or more at bats. I mean,
good guy in the clubhouse, great guy in a team, always talking to players, a veteran, real mellow. And the other thing too, Mike, we didn't talk about him pinch hitting. How about some of the pinch hits he got this year? He spreads his legs out a little longer, stops, slows his stride down, and puts the ball in play. A couple times were key pinch hits.
He had like a 14-game hitting streak where 2 or 3 of those games were one at bat, and that was a pinch hit.
Right.
And he kept his streak alive.
That's right.
That's
Totally true. So when you look at this season, Mike, what would you say the season was? Ups and downs, hurdles they couldn't get through, and then finally they got a nice winning streak. Well, what do you think happened to this Giants team this year?
Oh, thanks for asking. I mean, I think it took them too long to figure out how to fit Devers in. I think my biggest thing with the Giants is they have talent, and I like Bob Melvin personally, but I think he leaves pitchers in too long. And I'm curious what you think because you're a pitcher. I mean, I think the season turned with the September 6th game in St. Louis where he left Walker in, bang, 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 single walk, hit by pitch. I don't remember the exact sequence, but it was still 2-1 after 4 batters. And the Giants, I was in the car and I was yelling at the radio, pull them. And then bam.
That's when really the balloon busted. They were on a win streak. Yeah. They had won that Friday night game and hitting the ball. That was when they had so many home runs in 18 games, 36 I think it was. They had a 2-0 lead going into that bottom of the 9th inning. And I don't even think Walker threw 12 to 14 pitches. It was bing, bang, boom. And they lose 3-2. Wow. And then the following game, Kai Tang had him shut out for 4 innings. He goes into 5th inning and walks the 3 guys in a row. And that was the game where I was scratching my head because he had bullpen help. They knew Kai Tang wasn't going to go deep in the game, but it was just too late. The Cardinals scored 4 runs. They came up 0-3, and they lose those last 2 on the road. I thought that, just like you, both of those games were crucial at the time when they needed to win and jump back in this wild card race.
I mean, you were a long-term pitcher. There's got to be something for having your manager have faith in you, but isn't there a time when you don't quite have it and you're almost – I don't know, are you ever hoping that he comes out or do you just like –
Well, no, you never want to come out of the game. You never want to come out. And I remember, and I said this to Ron Wotus on Wednesday, you know how they always cover your glove over your mouth. And that day, J.P. Martinez went out there, and he said to Ryan Walker, "You all right? Everything's all right." And Walker kind of jumped at him. He said, I'm fine. Get out of here. I'm fine. Everything's fine. And then the next first pitch, boom, base hit. Next pitch, boom, base hit. And I think he gets so energized. And we saw this back in the day when he pitched against the Angels way in earlier the year. He just starts throwing too hard. He doesn't, composure kind of pushes him. Today a little bit, the composure pushed him. He overthrows some of those pitches where you can't control the slider or the sinker. And you overthrow them, and next thing you know, ball 1, ball 2, ball 3. That's where you have to slow down everything, your mechanics, your thought pattern, your brain especially, because the first thing you're thinking is, I got to get this guy out. I got to throw a strike. And you start forcing yourself into it. I just don't know if the Bob Melvin move to bring these guys in or out. You have to trust in your bullpen. We saw it all the way through the month of June. They were the best bullpen in Major League Baseball. Changes occurred. They just couldn't find the right place at the right time for some of those pitchers to fill in the gaps. And I think that's what hurt them after the All-Star break. And once they got rid of Rogers and Duvall, they had to find people to fit pieces. And I think they really thought Randy Rodriguez was going to be that closer, and that hurt him when he got hurt.
Yeah. One last thing. Webb is starting tomorrow. I mean, It's been a rough season, but it could get rougher if there, God forbid, were some kind of injury. Do you think that's a smart move to use Webb?
Yes, I do. And I tell you the reason why. He wants to get the most strikeouts in the league. Right now he's got 216. The guys he's tied with are not pitching anymore. He's got 201 2/3 innings. I think that's the most in Major League Baseball. Right now, he just wants to go out with a nice game. He's got 14 wins. He'd love to see the 15th win. And hell, Mike, I'm just telling you, don't take the ball away from me. Unless you want to take it away from me, I want my start. And he's going for his 34th start. He's that type of guy. He wants to pitch. His last outing, he threw against St. Louis, 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs. I think he wants to go out there and shut him down and get that 15th win. And you can't take that away from your guy. You can't take that start away, especially just like Justin Verlander. He could have just hung it up too. But I'm kind of glad to see these guys going out there and trying to battle and get a win. And that win means a lot to this team, to be 500, to be 81-81. Sure, Giants fans would have loved to see 91 or 90. It just didn't happen this year, but to finish 500, it is something that they're going to fight for tomorrow.
Gotcha. And one last thing, Greg Elliott. I think he was at that 2008 fantasy camp in Arizona. I think he was actually a fantasy camper with us. One of the groundskeepers was, and I can't remember his name. But
that wasn't Greg. That was another friend. Yeah, that was another guy. He was out there too. No, Greg's been there for 18 years. As I said earlier, my family and his family are friends back in Toledo, Ohio. When Greg was out here, when he got the job, I was doing a fantasy BP, and he came out and said, "I'm Greg Elliott, so-and-so's son." And I went, "Oh, my goodness, Toledo, Ohio." And Greg and I became close friends and went back to his office several times. And in my interview, I started by saying, "Deja vu, Greg. When I first saw you, when I first sat down and talked to you, I was sitting in his office, and Wednesday was the last day we got to say goodbye to each other." He's going on for the San Jose Earthquakes, but leaving behind just a great baseball field, a lot of improvements out there, and he's got a great staff. He called it like a firehouse, and I know a lot of the grounds crew that work for him, they really believed in him. They were just a trusted group, a good group of guys that really work hard on that field, and we can see it every day when you go out there. That field's pristine.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I love the fact that they don't try to put a design in the outfield or anything. It's just pure green, like when we were kids and had that first view of the field. I love that.
Well, Mike, thanks again for the call. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and have a good off season. And we'll be back next year in the 2026 Extra Inning Post-Game Show. But thanks again, Mike.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, let's go out to Cedar Creek and talk to Brooklyn Bob. Brooklyn Bob, you're on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show on a Saturday. How are you?
I'm good, Bill. How are you?
Well, good win today. I was hoping it'd hold on. Everything worked good. Everything's good, Brooklyn Bob. I can hear you. What'd you think of the game today overall?
Well, I only caught the last of it because I've been out of commission. I've been working up in the mountains for a week at a time with no internet, nothing. So I only catch games on Monday and Tuesday coming home. But I caught this one at the very end, and it was a great hold-on win. And I think it was a great season. You know, and I think I said this way back when. This is a good team. I think Buster's done a great job, and you know, it was a good year. And but I want to comment on a game about, I think 3 weeks ago maybe. I'm not sure if it was the Brewers or San Diego, and it was late innings, and they had either first and second or bases loaded, and they did a hit and run bunt, and it popped up. And JT Santangelo had just mentioned like 2 days ago, you got to lay it out. And the pitcher, I don't know who it was, let it drop in front of him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if he had just laid out, caught that ball, it was a tailor-made triple play. I don't
remember that. I'm sorry, Brooklyn Bob. I don't remember that play, but I believe you. And sometimes, you know, sometimes when you're a pitcher, you usually let your infielders catch the ball. They always said, let the sure hands catch the ball. But sometimes as a pitcher, you have to react, and sometimes you react. Sometimes you do make a great play. There has been a couple plays where pitchers have come in and caught a ball, just a little pop-up off the end of the bat, and they run in and catch it. I remember Tristan Beck sprinting over to the on-deck circle to try to catch a fly ball. It is, a lot of it is this contact. A lot of it is instant reaction to it. And sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't. But it sounds like at that play, they didn't do it right.
Yeah, and it was a couple, you know, but it was a great season. And you mentioned Dravecki. It makes me cry. I can remember when Dravecki's arm, you know, shattered. I was watching that
he's
game,
on tomorrow with me on the warm-up show. I had a nice conversation with him, and, of course, he won the Willie Mack Award. He was out there yesterday when they gave it to Willie Adames. Marvin Bernard's on today. I had a nice chat with him. Robbie Thompson tomorrow. A lot of the guys back in my era when I was playing, got to know them as friends on and off the field. And, of course, now doing radio, I've done many interviews with these guys, but I always find nuggets that they laugh about because I always find one or two things that they didn't know about themselves, and it's always great throwing that at them.
And I'm going home to Brooklyn in 10 days, you know, back with my Severian buddies. Severian is where Rick Arulia played. And I'm going home to see, I think I talked about this before, one of my best friend's brothers, Roy DeLorenzo, always touted himself as the best shortstop in Severian. And one day, Rick comes in to see Mr. Woods, who is our varsity coach. And he worked at his bar. And Rick comes in and says to Roy, I came in to see the second best shortstop in Severian history. So I'll go back with the boys in 10 days. I think it was a great season. I totally believe that Buster has got it right. And the last thing I'll say, I don't know Eldridge very much. I haven't watched him in sack, but I truly believe, and I think I said this before, that Schmidt is the real deal, and I think that he should be the anchor at first base. Personally,
well, you know, Bryce Eldridge's a class guy. He's 20 years old, though, Brooklyn Bob. We got to give him a little time to get acclimated to the big leagues. He's doing a great job. I'm so glad he got to come up for a couple weeks just to see the pitching up here and to understand what he has to learn and what he has to get better at. But he's going to be a superstar in the Giants uniform, no question. Casey Schmidt, boy, did he come on this year. Playing second base, a position he really never played a lot in, but he's made some great defensive catches at second base. Made a nice one today on a bullet that was hit to him. But we'll find out more, Brooklyn Bob, as the season ends in 2026 with a new team and some new faces. And Brooklyn Bob, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure calling in and talking. And you have safe travels back to New York, all right?
All right. Thank you, Bill. And thank you for having me on.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to El Cerrito and talk to the closer, who now is a champion. Oh, my goodness, I can't wait to talk to him. Closer, congratulations. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call. Enjoying the game.
Well, closer, you're my last call today on a Saturday, and I just want to congratulate you and your team for winning the division and the championship that you play in the over 50 league. And you guys had a hell of a run, and that championship game was exciting.
Actually, it's over 45, Bill. Don't make me older than I am.
Well, you're the manager of the
It's
team.
over
You
45
got to
league.
be over 50. You're the one that brings all the ringers in.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, it was a great season for us, man. We came alive. We came alive in those playoffs. We got kind of reminded us of the Giants in 2010. We just
there you go. Well, the Galeo Club's having a big championship party for you. Is that true?
Yeah, the Galileo Club. Yeah, we're the Galileo Giants, so we're having that. I give a lot of shout outs to some of my players that just hung in there, and man, they just went.
Is the parade going to go around the parking lot, Mike? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, we're going to come down to your house and do it. So
yeah, there you go. Come down to Burlingame. You can go down Broadway.
Yeah, that'd be
well,
good.
Mike, tell me a little bit about what you thought. You went to a lot of games for the Giants this year. Some of the highs and lows. They had some lows, but boy, they played well at the end of August and the beginning of September. They got back in the race, but you know what? When you're playing the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, when you're saying, last 10 to 13 games against them, that was a tough stretch at the wrong time in September.
It was, but in my opinion, I think one of your callers earlier, the guy from Petaluma, I think, or maybe it was the last other guy, said they thought that it went south after that early September Cardinals or something.
The Cardinal series, and the two games in St. Louis.
Yeah, I think it went south after the All-Star break because we just went in. We were hot, up to the All-Star break, and then we lost what was it, 14 out of 16? It was just like
it was ugly
at
one time when you look at the All-Star break. They were 52 and 45, and now they're 30 and 36, somewhere around there. My number might be wrong there, but you're absolutely right. They lose to Toronto. That was a tough series, and then before the All-Star break, Mike, they lost the last two games of the Dodgers. So when they went to Toronto, it was a 5-game losing streak at that time, and they just couldn't catch up. And you would have thought coming back after the All-Star break, Robbie Ray didn't pitch well there. Logan Webb didn't pitch well there. And then the bullpen started going south.
It did. You brought out a good point earlier, a couple callers back, about how, we had the best bullpen in baseball, right, up until through June or down there. And then that has to be a big factor why we went in a funk,
like I said, they got rid of Tyler Rogers. They got rid of Duvall. I think they really put a lot of emphasis on Randy Rodriguez because he was an all-star, having a great year, and he was going to be the next closer. And then he goes down with injury. They forced Ryan Walker back in there, and then hit and miss on guys that are you going to be able to set us up in the 7th and 8th inning? And then this guy failed, and the next guy jumped in. Look at what happened. Tristan Beck got a save, first save in his career the other night. They went to another player, another pitcher at that time. It was, a Band-Aid here, a Band-Aid there, and that's one thing they're going to have to fix. They're going to have to come up with an idea of exactly what they did this year because, as you and I both said, through June, that was a shutdown bullpen.
It was awesome, and gave you hope, gave you hope that everything was going to keep going in the right direction. And then it seems like, Bill, last couple of years right after the All-Star break, similar things happened. We went in a funk after the All-Star break.
Yeah, and then the offensive numbers, my goodness, they couldn't even score a couple runs. And you look at Robbie Ray and Logan Webb and even Verlander, you probably had a good 10 to 15 games where they were coming out with a lead or they were losing 1-0 or 2-1. They just couldn't overcome the losses. You look at Verlander, 4-11, and he could easily have 5 more wins. When you look at 12 quality starts, he pitched well the second half.
Yeah. No, he really did, and he showed that he still got it. I don't know if he'll be with the Giants next year or not. I don't know. didn't hear you guys talking about that earlier. I got on the show a little bit later, but
yeah, you know, through
what do
the
you
through
think,
the
Bill? Do you think
grapevine, through some of the reporters that you know he wants to go back to Florida or even in Texas. He was even talking about trying to get back with Houston. You know, as you and I talk a lot, Mike, the tax in California killed him when you make $15 million for 1 year, and he wants to go back to Florida or Texas where there's no state tax and make a little bit more money.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea as far as that goes. But yeah, we'll talk about that.
Well, closer, you know, you had a great year. I'm really happy for you, and now I'll be able to talk to you in January when you come to Big League Coach and Fantasy Camp with your team and try to contend to see if you can win a championship in January.
Well, that'd be nice. I was talking to some of my guys today about it. We had a game over at West Sunset Field in San Francisco, 40th and Ortega, and they were asking about the baseball camp, when it is. I said, I think it's January 11th. Isn't that when it starts?
Yes, it is. January 11th to January 17th, 2026, in beautiful Scottsdale. You've been there many, many years. Of course, you won the Cy Young Award a year there. That was a fun one. But you know what? It's a good time, and I'll be back at it tomorrow and Monday and get it going again. And are you going to Nashville for that tournament, Closer?
No, you know what? I actually told my team, because we won the championship, that I was going to take them there if we won, right? But I didn't know we were going to win until about 2 weeks ago. and the timing, because it's a few days from now. Just the timing was bad, and only
It's
3
starting
or 4
this
guys
week.
could make it.
Yeah, it's starting this week. I talked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to Matt today. He's got like 8 teams coming there. A lot of teams from the Cardinals, the Yankees, the A's. Should be a good tournament, and hopefully I'll get a good handful of guys from there to come to January. But Closer, it's great to talk to you as always. It's always great when you call into the show, and I think people are like, why are you calling him the Closer all the time? Well, Mike's a real estate agent, and when you're a real estate agent, you got to be the closer to win some of these houses, right?
Well, that and also my 90-mile-an-hour fastball coming on the inside. I'm kidding.
The ones that you dream of throwing. Well, Mike, thanks for the call, man. Thanks for the call. Be well. I'll be in touch, buddy. Appreciate your time. All right, we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Coming up next, I sit down with Will Clark, Will the Thrill, number 22, as we talk more Giants baseball right here on KNBR, the sports leader. Did you ever think you could become a big league baseball player? Well, now you can. Come to Big League Coaching Fantasy Camp. It's January 11th through January 17th, 2026 in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Our host hotel is the Marriott Suites for the week. Come play with the great coaches, Joe Youngblood, Shooty Babbitt, Tim Flannery, Scott Geraltz, Mark Davis. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org and sign up today. Become a big leaguer.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Lasky keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show. I'm excited to bring my guest on. 6-time All-Star, Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger Award winner. So many accolades he's done. The two biggest ones, you see his plaque on the San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame. And in 2022, they retired his number 22. Let's bring in Will Clark. Will, how are you today?
Hello, Big Bill. How's everything, partner?
Doing good, my friend. Hey, you know, the 2025 season is coming to a close. And we all kind of reminisce at the end of the year on what we did pluses, what we did minuses. At the end of each year in your 15-year career, when did you start dissecting your season?
You know what? I tried to walk away for a little bit and just kind of get away from it and, clear the brain, stuff like that. And then after that, maybe a month later or so, then I started thinking about, I could have done that. I could have done that. All that stuff. But yeah, it was it's usually a month after the season's over because, like I said, you need a little downtime. You can't just be on all the time,
Well, and that kind of brings me to my first question here, Will. You know, we start off in grade school and high school. We emulate players. You went to Jesuit High School in New Orleans. When did it really hit you that you had the ability to be a baseball player?
I thought that probably my senior year in high school is when I started really, seriously thinking about it. My junior year, I had a pretty good year, but I made a swing change in between my junior and senior year, and it really went off after that. And so, then I got, you get drafted. I got drafted in the 4th round by the Royals out of high school. Plus, I was having, quite a few, places were offering me scholarships. So I figured I could play at the next level. And then, then when I get to Mississippi State, I did not sign with the Royals. When I get to Mississippi State, then, make the Olympic team and stuff like that. And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm on the level that everybody else is too.
One of the things you did in the summer, you played in Cape Cod, the Katuitt Kettlers. I also played there. What an experience that whole league is in the summertime. You had 385 in Cape Cod. You're in the Hall of Fame there. Something that comes into all of us. We get to play against the top line pitchers of the whole nation. I faced a lot of the top line hitters. Was that something that you wanted to do that summer and accomplish what you did?
Definitely. I definitely wanted to, play, against different competition. I just got through my freshman year at Mississippi State playing in the SEC and went up, like you said, to Katuitt and played against, not only people from up that way, but people, from all over the country. And it was a great experience. It really was.
Will Clark joining me on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. The problem is once you play in that summer league, you got to go back to college. And you start attending more and more, games with subpar pitchers. But you had to stay on that same path that you approached in Cape Cod. How hard was that for you to do that?
You know what? It really wasn't. Cape Cod was like I said, it was awesome. It was a great way to spend the summer. And but yet at the same time, when I got back to Mississippi State, that was my sophomore year, and we were trying to win a national championship, and we had a great ball club that year, and really we went off, and so the level of competition, I guess you want to say, stayed kind of the same. It didn't really go down any for me.
Well, you ended up playing the Summer Olympics in 1984. What a fabulous team you had. Some of the great players that made great careers in Major League Baseball. Something you wanted to achieve, something you wanted to wear that USA across your chest. How excited were you when you got selected to play and when you played, because you tore it up?
That was one of the things that I really enjoyed, running out on the field and having, USA on your chest. That was a completely different animal than being in college. And like we talked about, we had a barnstorming tour. We went, I don't know, it was something crazy, like 36 games in 35 days and like 30 cities or something like that. And, by doing that, I thought that got me ready for pro ball and traveling and being on the road and stuff like that. So
It worked out well for you. The San Francisco Giants drafted you number one. It took us, you probably were excited. Did you know much about the Giants, though? Or did you really kind of get a handle of the organization at that time?
you know what I did? I was kind of a baseball fanatic, and what I did was leading up to the draft, I kind of knew who was high on me, and I started following all of those teams and looking into their past and their history and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I was pretty up on the Giants.
Well, of course, in 1986, you and I were both teammates. You made your Major League Baseball debut. One of the things that you had to look into was the big leagues with different pitchers. Of course, Nolan Ryan comes to fashion right off the bat. You've hit the most home runs off of him, which is 6. But again, it's the next level. It's the highest level that you had to face good time pitchers, excellent pitchers, Hall of Fame pitchers. Your mental approach was fired up. Your physical approach, you could handle it. But how was it day to day? How did you handle that?
That was the thing that guys like yourself and guys like Mike Krukow, Bob Brenly, y'all helped me tremendously with that because I was definitely an emotional type of guy, and what you guys did was y'all mentored me in trying to stay consistent, trying to stay kind of even keel, and that was one of the best things that ever happened to me, especially as I became a veteran and I was able to pass that along to some of the younger guys.
Well, one of the greatest stories I say, because I was sitting right next to you and Chili Davis on the bench after you hit your first home run off Nolan Ryan, and you sat down next to him, and you said, Chili, what should I expect the next time up? And Chili looked at you cold faced and said, he's going to throw at you. And you said,
Yeah.
really? And you said, oh, yeah, be looking for it. And sure enough, he chin music you the next time up. You remember that?
I do remember that. I asked Chili, what was going to happen. He goes, "Oh, he's going to throw at you, or he's going to something like." He said something like that, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" Now I remember Nolan was in his windup, and I was already on my way to the ground. So, he definitely buzzed the tower for sure. So.
Well, looking at some ballparks that you did really well in, and you start thinking about them. The Astrodome, the hardest place to see at, you hit 297 there. And then when you went to the American League for a little bit, the Minnesota Metrodome, you hit 352. Two ballparks that really is hard to see as a hitter. How did you get so hot in those two stadiums?
You know what? That's a great question. And on top of that, both of those places were turf. I wasn't a big
Yeah.
turf fan
Yeah.
either. So, it was just one of those things where I don't know. I mean, it's almost like on a regular basis, you'd get a pitch to hit and miss it, and you're like, damn, one of them numbers. And then all of a sudden, you get, you like you said, you go to Houston, you get a pitch, and you would miss it. You go to Metrodome, you get a pitch, you would miss it. And you're like, how the hell did I miss him over there in a hitter's ball? I didn't miss him here.
Well, another ballpark you raked at was Jack Murphy Stadium, and you definitely hit the Padres real well. 327 lifetime, 25 home runs. You hit over 330 at Jack Murphy Stadium. A good ballpark to hit at. I love pitching there too. But there was something about the Padres. You just annihilated them every time you played them.
You know what? I loved it, and I enjoyed the challenge of playing within our division because I knew that if you win the ball games in your division, that's how you either make up ground or you put space in between you and your division rivals. And so I don't know whether it was a concentration thing or what, but I really enjoyed playing against the Padres, playing in Jack Murphy. Same thing could be said for the Dodgers too, and then when the Rockies came in. So I mean, it was a lot of fun. And then, as you well alluded to earlier, Houston was in our division, so was Atlanta.
Right.
So I mean, you had a lot of good teams, good pitchers, stuff like that. But you just had to bear down and try to do better when you play in your division.
Well, in your division against the Atlanta Braves, that was the hottest team that you hit well. You hit 334 off Atlanta, 22 home runs. Against the Dodgers, you hit 311, 15 home runs. And I think you said it right. When you're in a division and you're playing your arch rivals, because that's the division, those are the standings you're really fighting for. Concentration a little bit more, you think, Will?
Definitely, definitely concentration more because like you and I talked about before, you could put space in between you and your rivals, and so for me, I definitely took those at bats, more. Plus, on top of that, I mean, you were facing with the guys in your division a lot more as well. You wouldn't face a Montreal or a Pittsburgh as much as you would the Dodgers and the Padres.
Will Clark, also in the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, joining me on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Something you commented this year about runners in scoring position. Why the Giants of 2025 are having so much problems with it. Well, I ran your numbers, my friend. Runners in scoring position, you hit over 300 when they were on. With 2 outs, you hit 295. It's a different breed. It's a different animal for a hitter. What did you think about when you were on the on deck circle before you got in the box? Was there a different mindset? What was it that you did so well when you got runners in scoring position and you alluded to get a hit?
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that, concentration went up, focus went up, and you knew that, hey, look, these are the at bats that you live for. These are your at bats that you want, or the at bats, with the game on the line or runners in scoring position and stuff like that. So for me personally, I would much rather hit, with the runners on than nobody on.
Well, was it making contact? Was that the biggest thing you wanted to produce when runners were in scoring position? Something that you just said, hey, I don't want to hit a home run. I just want to hit a ball contact, go to the opposite way if I have to, pull it, but mostly just to make contact.
I don't think that I was in the just make contact mode.
Okay.
Runs in scoring position. I had done, quite a bit of homework before I even got up there to the batter's box, and so I was looking for a pitch in a certain area, and then trying to get whatever to drive in a run.
Well, fabulous career on the defensive side, 992 lifetime fielding percentage, 136 errors in your 15-year career. You've been working with Bryce Eldridge on fundamentals, different things, setting your feet. Where's the throw going? How do you anticipate the ball? What did you do in those years to help yourself do and learn all this?
I was fortunate enough to have some great infield instructors. With the Giants, it was Bob Lillis, and then when I was with the Rangers, it was Bucky Dent. And so both of those guys, their theory was, attack the ball, be on the aggressive, come to the ball. And the reason being because you are playing the ball's not playing you, and you actually wound up creating a good hop. So that was my big thing was kind of attacking the ball. Another thing too is we had great communication on our infield, as you well know.
Right.
Being the big league pitcher that you were, Matt Williams would tell Jose Uribe what was going on over there. Robbie Thompson would tell me what was going on over there, and so we moved as a unit, and we moved, as a unit while we are looking at you pitching. So let's say if you're going to throw a breaking ball away, I'm going to take a step the other way. If you're going to throw a fastball down and in, I'm going to take a step on the pull side. And so that's the kind of things that we started to do, and it bettered our whole infield.
A couple more minutes with Will Clark on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Baseball has changed, Will. Things are changing. They are going to implement the ABS system next year for balls and strikes, the challenge system, to talk about umpire strike zone. Do you like that? Do you think games should be changed that way?
I do not think games should be changed that way. I think that, you're going to lose the human element, and we need that human element in the sport. They're already making enough rule changes to where it's not even the same sport that you and I played. So I think they ought to leave the game alone. They've made way too many changes right now. Just leave the game alone. Let it be like it's been the last 150 years.
Well, as the 2025 season ends with the San Francisco Giants, a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. Things have to be worked on. Do you see a positive point moving on for the 2026 season with this roster and staff?
Yeah, I mean, I thought our pitching staff did a great job this year. Everybody's going to run into a little rough patch here and there, but I mean, you know, Webby is way up there in strikeouts. Verlander did a great job, battling through no run support. Robbie Ray turned in a really solid year all the way around. And then some of our young guys, got hurt this year. So hopefully they'll come back healthy and be able to contribute to our pitching staff.
Well, Will the Thrill, it's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. You have a great off season as always, and it's a pleasure again. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Bill. You take care of yourself and go Giants.
That was Will Clark on the Extra Inning Post Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Lasky.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Verlander's 3-2 pitch. Right there, strike 3 called at the knees. Doyle caught looking.
Back on the Extra Inning postgame show on our last Saturday show for the 2025 baseball season as the Giants win today 4-3 at Oracle Park to up their record to 80 wins and 81 losses. One more game for the San Francisco Giants in the 2025 season, and they're throwing their ace out there tomorrow. First pitch right here at 12:05. All the games will start at the same time. Logan Webb, 14-11 with a 3.3 earned run average, is going to stake the start. His 34th start on the year. He's got 201 2/3 innings pitched. He's got 216 strikeouts. Just a fabulous year for Logan Webb, and he wants to put one more win in his block. Going against McCade Brown. McCade Brown has only been starting 6 starts for him. Pitched a lot in AA and AAA. He's 0-4 with a 7.5 earned run average. And he's, like I said, he's started 6 starts. The Colorado Rockies have lost all 6. His last game, pretty good, and he pitched against the Seattle Mariners, going 5 innings, only get up 2 hits and 1 earned run. But a few of them were pretty good. 6 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 3 earned runs. So we'll see if the Giants can mount an attack against the right-hander and see if they can get Logan Webb his 15th win. Okay, you know what? You just start thinking about what happened this year, some of the highs and some of the lows. And I was throwing this out earlier today, you know, the best catch of the year. And 2 of them have come up to me. The one that Jung-Hoo Lee caught out in center field where he caught it between his knees. I thought that was a pretty cool one. But the one that really sets him apart is the catch from Mike Yastrzemski, if you remember, going down the right field line. And the net was kind of holding him up, and he caught the ball and then fell into the net. One of the best catches this year, I feel. And then, of course, the funniest at bat when Elliot Ramos hit the Little League home run, more or less, going from first to second to third, and all the throws from the Texas Rangers, and they ended up getting the winning run at home on a Texas from the Texas League, Texas Rangers, all their errors, and that was a good one. And then, of course, the walk-off home runs, the 2 big ones from Patrick Bailey, one from the left-hand side, the inside the park home run, hit the right center field wall and bounced all the way to center against the Philadelphia Phillies. And I can't never forget this one, the 11th inning, hitting a grand slam against the Los Angeles Dodgers on a Friday night, Orange Friday, in the 11th inning. 2 cool walk-off home runs by Patrick Bailey. Just thought I'd throw a couple of those things out there as the season's coming to an end. Coming up next, Marvin Bernard. What a great guy. I've known Marvin for many years. Of course, Marvin was a Willie Mack Award winner. He played 9 years in major leagues, baseball, all with the San Francisco Giants. Really was a pretty good outfielder, and he was a leadoff hitter. Most of the time, you know, playing with some great players. He had some great teammates during the years when he played. And I sat down with Marvin. Of course, he's on the San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame and also the 1999 Willie Mack Award winner. And we talk a lot about what that means to him coming from Nicaragua over to the United States and some funny things that happen along the way. So coming up next, I sit down with Marvin Bernard, and we'll talk more baseball right here with Marvin coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Lasky continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Lasky. I'm delighted to have a good friend on. Played 9 years in major leagues, all with the San Francisco Giants. You can see his beautiful plaque on the San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame. And also in 1999, he is the Willie Mack Award winner. Let's bring in Marvin Bernard. Marvin, how are you today?
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Good. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. You know, it's so great to talk to players that received the Willie Mack Award, and you were one of them. And I'll talk about it a little later. But, you know, it's just the time of the year, the end of the year. And, you know, you've done this for 9 years. At the end of the year, you start thinking about, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? When did it take you that much of a time after the season to start thinking about the next year?
Usually as soon as it you know, it's a bittersweet thing, right? It all depends on how the season finishes. If you finish on a great note, you give yourself a little time to just decompress. If you finish on a bad note, you right away you want to get started tomorrow, but you still got to give your body some time to heal and some time to rest, and your mind some time to let go of some things. So for me, usually in the big grand scheme of everything, usually by after Thanksgiving is when I used to start getting really focused for the next year.
I really think, Marvin, you got to take away from, a little bit from the ballpark, the baseball life, and have time with your family. And a lot of that is downtime. A lot of that is trying to be normal. And sometimes that's hard to do.
It is. Like I said, it all depends on how your season went. If you had a bad season, it gets rougher because, nobody's harder on an athlete than himself. We are harder on ourselves more than anybody else. So whenever fans start booing you and stuff like that, it just adds on to that hard part that you put on yourself already. And sometimes it translates to the family. You have to walk on eggshells and stuff like that. But when you have a pretty good season, everybody's more relaxed. Everything it's more enjoyable. You get to say, like, plan on vacation, and then depending on the age of your kids, whether they're in school or not, sometimes you just take off and just try to get away from everything and forget about everything, leave everything behind, and just enjoy, like you said, the family. Because don't forget, I mean, the season is 6 months, but you start, you could almost say it's 8 months by the time you get done with spring training. And if you make the playoffs, it's almost 8 months that you're away from the family, so it can get kind of heavy after a while.
That voice you hear in the Extra Inning Post-Game Show, Forever Giant Marvin Bernard. Let's go back in time a little bit, Marvin. Out of high school, you got drafted by the Phillies and then the White Sox. You didn't sign with either one of these clubs. You ended up going to Lewis Clark College, and that's where the Giants drafted you in 1992. Why didn't you sign with either of those other clubs, and why did the Giants make that offer that you said it's time to go pro?
I'm going to tell you the first one, and you're going to laugh. I came to the country in '82. I was 12 years old, and I had never heard of a draft. I didn't know what a draft was. The only draft I knew was a military draft. And we left Nicaragua because of the military draft. So when the scout came up to me and asked me if I would sign, he said, "No, I'm not going to the military. We left because of the military." And he started laughing. He said, "No, it's a Major League Baseball draft." I had no idea what he was.
Right.
I literally had no idea. So I said, "No, my mom's not going to let me," and I walked away from him. So when I tell people that story, they start laughing. They're like, they look at you like you're crazy. I said, "No, that's the way it played out, right?" And then I went to junior college, and the offer that they made me, my coach, Tony Bloomfield, told me, he goes, "Go to school. The scholarship that they're giving you is worth more than this." So I took his word, and I went to Lewis and Clark, and I played for 2 years there. And what I learned up there was the difference, in my opinion, that helped me get to the big leagues. It was the mindset, the mentality. the no complain, give it 100%. I don't care how bad your day was. You still got to go out there and perform today because it's a different day. I don't care what you did yesterday. This is what counts, is what happening now, what's going to happen with this next pitch, this next play. So I signed with the Giants because I had no other choice. It sounds bad, but I was a senior. And they drafted me in the 50th round. They gave me $1,000, and they said, go get him.
Yeah, and you did that in 1992, and you jumped into the minor leagues. And one of the biggest things I always ask players is pitchers, just like I did, some of the hurdles that you went through the minor leagues, some of the times where you just like, man, am I good enough to do this? Some of the things that mentally you start checking in, checking out each day, maybe an 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts, maybe you missed a ball in the outfield. How hard are those times to overcome when you're in the minor leagues like
that? My first full season, I was in Clinton, Iowa, and I show up, and the first week, I'm having a great week, and then I get pneumonia. I sit out for a week, start playing again, and I get it again. And then when I came back the second time from being sick, I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. When I say I couldn't hit water, Bill, I couldn't do anything right. Needless to say, I think I hit like 292 in the first. I hit 192 in the first half of the season, and so there was a lot of crying, a lot of complaining, a lot of feeling sorry for yourself. But I never stopped showing up early to the ballpark. I never stopped working. Manager called me in the office a couple of times, said, "Hey, they're looking for someone to release. You need to give me some ammo for me to fight for you." He would always tell me the same thing. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's go get them.
And so it worked. It worked because you got through the minor leagues. And the tough part was you had to go level to level. But in 1995, you got an opportunity at 24 years old to come up to the big leagues. You played in 13 games. Most likely it was in September, I'm thinking. But you had a good manager. You had Dusty Baker. And you had Dusty Baker pretty much through your whole big league career. What did he say to you when you first came up?
It's everything comes out afterwards, right? So you start talking, and you start getting to know. So when the Giants, when Dusty asked about me, the Giants told him, "Don't worry about him. He's just a filler. He's just filling rosters." And Dusty goes, "Well, what do you mean he's just filling rosters?" Dusty goes, "I have never heard that term before."
Yeah.
But again, organizations have their guys, and they see things one way, but they don't understand what's in that kid's heart or in his gut, right? So I laugh about it now, and I said, yeah, I was a filler. I was supposed to fill a roster, but they didn't realize that roster was going to be the big leagues, not the minor leagues. You know what I mean? So they were right in the part that I was going to fill a roster, but it was in the big leagues, not the minor leagues. So when I meet Dusty, my career, everything changes, because he just gave me an opportunity that I don't think anybody else would have given me. And I took advantage of it.
It sure did, because in 95 you come up, like I said, for 13 games, but in 1996 you're in 135 games. And the numbers started proceeding in the positive role: 17 doubles, 4 triples, 5 home runs, 25 stolen bases. You were leading off for the team. Everything was working. You also had Barry Bonds there to kind of help you. You also had Stan Javier, Glenn Allen Hill, some names from those first couple years that you literally watched and, maybe played next to him in the outfield. But those are things that you learned how to play. And the thing about it, you were at Candlestick Park, which was harder to play than it was at Oracle Park now.
Yeah, if I look back at my career, and apart from getting blessed and get to the big leagues, I was blessed with some great, amazing teammates. When I came up, Matt Williams, Robbie Thompson, Kirk Manwaring, Royce Clayton was there. Rod Beck was there. Then Stan Javier came in, Glenn Allen Hale came in, Darrell Hamilton came in. And Mark Gardner came in, and all these guys, JT Snow, all these guys put a little bit of like a little a grain of salt, not so salt, but a grain of sand in my bucket. And if I'm talking to every one of them, I got something from each and every one of them. And those guys are amazing in trying to give back that someone gave them, whether it is, sit down and just talk to you about, I don't know, about the ground ball that you miss or how you didn't run 100% or, the ball that you threw, miss your cutoff man or something like that, So they were always there just to guide me along and, off the field, take me to, give me some dinner and some lunch or stuff like that. Those guys were amazing in that sense. And it made it a lot enjoyable and a lot easier for you to go out and go, hey, yeah, you messed up, but they messed up too. And they're telling you that when they messed up, someone helped them. So they're helping you. So when your turn comes, you help that along. So I was just blessed in that sense.
Marvin Bernard joining me on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Let's talk defense. 987 lifetime fielding percentage, 21 errors only in your 9 years, 5 double plays, 36 assists. Now, the thing about it, Marvin, you played every outfield position, center field, right field, left field. Now I'm going to go back to those candlestick days. That was tough playing right field. The winds changed constantly. A ball that was hit one day was crushed. The next one might have been running in to try to catch it. How did you obtain all that information each day playing all those outfield positions? Because it was tough.
Yeah, well, again, coming back to the same blessings. Remember, Willie Mays was always at the ballpark, and he loved talking about playing defense at Candlestick. So, when he opened his mouth, you open your ears and just, went on, tried it in batting practice because that's where you're going to, find out how bad the wind is sometimes. And sometimes it was nice for batting practice, and then it got ugly for the game. So you try to emulate as much as you could. But he would tell you, when you see the flag blowing this way, that means the ball's going that way. And when you see it going this, so you sit there and go. So you're constantly looking at the flag, and you go, don't pay attention to what you're feeling, because the flag could be going the opposite way of where the wind is hitting you in the face. So the ball's going to do different things, And he goes on, whatever you do, don't take your eyes off the ball and don't try to make it look pretty. Just catch it.
And when you hear words like that, you're listening, aren't you, Marvin?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, Marvin, you ended up with a 271 lifetime batting average, 260 RBIs. Against right-handers, you hit 275. In 2020, 222 at-bats. Now, there was a couple guys you wrote pretty good. Pete Harnish, 7 for 16, 438. Pedro Estacio, 11 for 25, 440. Todd Stottlemyre, 8 for 20, 400. What were some of the approaches you did on these guys? Because they weren't fooling you too much.
No, you know what? The whole the Pete Harnish thing is I laugh because I still talk about this once in a while. I said I came off the bench. I faced him in Chicago, and he threw me a pitch above my head, and I swung at it. And then he threw me another one higher than that one, and I swung at it too, right? And the next pitch, he threw me a fastball down and in, and I dropped the head of the bat and hit it out. And so when stuff like that happens, you sit there and go, why would he not throw it a little bit higher?
You would have jumped and swung at him, Marvin.
I did one time against Kurt Schilling here at Oracle Park. He threw me a fastball way up there, and I jumped and hit. Sometimes you just see the ball different off certain guys. It's like so your confidence grows as you start hitting the guy, and then you may not remember how many hits you have against him, but you do know that for whatever reason you feel comfortable against him.
Yeah.
I felt comfortable against facing Greg Maddux. A lot of people didn't like it. I felt comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to get my hits off those guys because of confidence, of whatever reason, whatever mistake they made earlier of me facing them, and I got hits off of them, my confidence grew, and I don't know what, I just kept at it.
Marvin Bernard joining me for a few more minutes on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Marvin, you and I were very fortunate. We got to meet Willie McCovey. We got to talk to him, got to meet him off the field, got to talk to him in the locker room, even in spring training. In 1999, your teammates chose you to be the Willie Mack Award winner, something special you'll always have, and you got to meet him when he presented that to you. What does that mean to you now that you're retired and Willie McCovey has passed?
You know, remember I told you earlier that, you know, the only reason I come back is because of Willie, right? I come back to the award to honor him, to have, you know, pass along to the new recipient, hey, you know, this is the man that you didn't meet, but I got to meet, or, you know, spend some time with. And I got a chance to spend some time with him. And he was an amazing person, you know, so the award means a lot. I mean, you know, he would sit there and he'll give you his time, he'll talk to you. And it's the best way to describe him for me is he said more with his silence than anybody else did by talking.
Yeah. So
you
true.
know what I mean? I mean, you've been around him. Sometimes you sit there and it's like you're sitting around him for 15, 20 minutes, and he said 3 words. And the 3 words that he said, you're sitting there thinking about them because you're going, oh, wow, how come I didn't see that, or I didn't think about that, or how did he get to see that, you know?
Yeah.
So he was just an amazing human being, amazing person that, you know, unfortunately, you know, Mother Time's going to take us all away, like we were talking about earlier. And he just, you know, took him away.
Well, Marvin, it's a pleasure catching up with you. Lifetime San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame, beautiful plaque on about you and your career. But again, thank you for your time today. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it.
That was Marvin Bernard on the Extra Inning Post Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
It sound right, boy. It sound right, boy.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Lasky.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show on our last Saturday show as we wind down the 2025 baseball season as the San Francisco Giants won earlier today 4-3 against the Colorado Rockies. Took the first two games. They're going for the sweep tomorrow to try to become an 81-81 team as the 2025 season is concluding. What are they going to do? They're going to throw Logan Webb out there. First pitch, 12:05 right here on KNBR. He's 14-11 with a 3.3 earned run average, 201 and 2/3 innings pitched, 216 strikeouts. So looking for a big-time win tomorrow for Logan Webb. McCade Brown is going against him. He's 0-4 with a 7.5 earned run average with the Colorado Rockies. I'll be doing the warm-up show. That starts at 10 o'clock tomorrow because the game's starting at 12:05. Dave Dravecki and Mark Carrion will join me for the warm-up show as we talk more about the Willie McCovey Award, and both of those guys won that award when they were back with the San Francisco Giants. And then tomorrow, Extra Inning Post-Game Show will close out the 2025 season with Robbie Thompson and Greg Elliott. Both of those interviews will be on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. Of course, Greg Elliott, 18 seasons with the San Francisco Giants as a head groundskeeper. Did a great job on the field, so many years. We talk about the bullpens being moved, the field, and all the manicuring that he did, and a lot of different things from changing from concerts back to the baseball field. But he's moving on to the San Jose Earthquakes. So tomorrow I'll have Robbie Thompson and Greg Elliott on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Today I want to thank my guests Will Clark and Marvin Bernard. Both of those, if you missed them, will be on the KNBR podcast. And also, I did the warm-up show today, and I interviewed Trevor McDonald. Of course, he was the winning pitcher in last night's game. And that's a great interview if you want to take a look at the All KNBR podcast and listen to that. Well, today I get to say goodbye and thank you to Kyle Haar. Kyle Haar has been my producer for this entire season, working weekends with me, and Saturday and Sunday he'll be moving over to the 49ers tomorrow. Just want to wish Kyle all the great the things he's done at KNBR and continued success with the Warriors and 49ers. But I just want to thank him from me to him, friend to friend. He did a great job for me, and I appreciate all the time that he's put in producing the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. So with that, I'll call it a night. Be safe, be well. One more game tomorrow for the San Francisco Giants, as well as the warm-up show and the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. So have a great night. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sport.